Hello, the channel. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for watching. Hope everyone caught the epic rewards video this week. So, tier 1 plus rare craft, tier 2 super rare. I'm a bit gutted, I must admit, with super rare competition. I'm over it, but I did get opted, and the opta score hadn't been down scored. I would have come first. First got a Haaland super rare, so yeah, that's a bit sore. Anyway, second got a James Tavernier, so I'm really glad I never came second, if I'm honest. Anyways, just as I logged in, I see that the pitch notes have come out. So before we do the preview and the of the games and also a preview for Celtic, I thought we'd have a look at the latest pitch notes. Now, I have not looked at this yet, so I have no idea what's in it. So much so that I've had to move myself to the top of the screen as well. Here's a glimpse of what you can expect this week from news updates to remind us about ongoing events. So yeah, ongoing events, not really pitch notes, but there we go. It's supposed to be like development stuff and everything, but yeah, this event's really good. Must admit, this anti-stack is something I've been looking at. 5 players, 5 clubs, any season. This was the sort of, oh, we're sorry, let's do something for classic competition. So yeah, I mean, I did have a look at it earlier, and the amounts are pretty good. One thing I found interesting was limited's like $1,000 first. It's not multi-entry as well, and then once you get down to the $5 places, they've added on some places and put credits in there as well. In fact, actually, that was pretty good thing to do. It's one way of extending the tail. People don't like credits or whatever, then fair dues. But sorry, I need to sell some cards. I do end up buying at least from time to time, probably quite regularly. So that's what it is. I like that competition. We've got Neon Christmas. Again, this is just a wee reminder of what we already know. Product updates, play page up, layout. We've refreshed this. It's worse. Yeah, it's worse. Navigation update, my cards. I think that's probably worse too, to be honest. To be fair, I do actually like the navigation panel and everything on PC, but on mobile it's terrible. So yeah, it's worse. Team rankings added. Yeah, it's quite interesting actually. You probably want to see those stats. So shows if you're first or 16th or whatever. Don't mind that. Market listings alert. Now see if one of your class list in the market directly under the card in the lineup builder. No more waiting until you try and submit a team. So score graph enhancement in the lineup builder, you can once again tap on a past score in the graph to view the detailed performance stats. Thanks for your feedback. Site's getting worse. That's my feedback on it. Sorry. It's getting worse. There might be some areas where it's looking better, but in terms of how you use it, it's getting worse. So anyway, let's go on to the the lineup stuff, the team fixtures, the preview, what we're all here for. I've done my feedback now, that's it done. So, the game week for this weekend, I am recording this on Wednesday in the afternoon. Celtic have still to play on Wednesday night. Some other teams have got like English Premier League games and everything midweek, so bear all that in mind. I'm not going to be doing an awful lot of lineup building here at the end, just because it's quite early, but I will be starting to draft some teams. One thing I noticed last week was that I was sitting on Thursday night like 10:30, 11, and I haven't even done a draft of a team yet. So it's quite hard because you're in your head, you want to see like who's been injured, who's played well midweek, who might be getting rotated, all that type of stuff. So it is difficult. So standout fixture in Champ and in general is Bayern Munich and Bayern in München in Germany against Heidenheim. 3.2 XG, 57% clean sheet percentage. I always think Bayern are quite dangerous if they keep a clean sheet. I mean, they do score well, got some really good SO5 players. Company's teams don't always keep clean sheets, but they are pretty dangerous. Inter Milan, we bit unusual to see them up there. Not currently licensed, I don't think, so that's a shame. Would quite like a Jan Sommer actually. Well, I've picked up an All Black now. That was a really good craft, by the way. So, get it round you, everybody who said that the wrong strategy there. Anyway, I don't mean we weren't saying the wrong strategy, but a lot of people saying, yeah, it's better just to craft at tier 3. It's like, yeah, I do understand that. If you want to just gamble at a lower level, then that's fine. There might be certain numbers on it, but I want to make sure I'm adding in guys who are quality. And all 4 crafts have been tier 1 plus, have all been good players. Dominic Ryman's a good limited goalkeeper. I've been using him. I got Pulisic, Jan Oblak and Gyökeres. So there we go. Celtic against Hibernian. We'll come back to Celtic in a wee minute. 2.75 XG, 59% clean sheet percentage. Hibs have been really poor, to be honest. Not a good team. Been really poor this season. Rangers against Ross County. Celtic just took 5 goals off Ross County and rotated. The problem is Rangers aren't as good as Celtic. The other problem is that it's Ross County away. The only thing I would say is it looks like Laidlaw's injured. There's rumours that he might be out for most of the rest of the season or the rest of the season with an MCL. So that'll be a bit of a blow for Ross County because he's been pretty solid. There was a point though about a year ago where he was kind of being rotated and his place was in danger. So you never know there. Zenit against Akron, pretty good fixture for Zenit, 2.6 XG. Again, not in season, but people have got Douglas Santos, Wendell, and everything floating about. Feyenoord against RKC, so that's the best fixture it looks like in Challenger so far. I mean, try to say where PSV are, and they've got 20, and that's quite a hard one. I mean, 20 obviously in Europe and everything as well. PSV are capable of scudding anybody, but we know that. Leverkusen against St. Pauli. Leverkusen will be buoyed by this sort of previous run they're on just now, so they've just beat Bayern Munich in the Cup, so they'll be pleased about that. Vark's got a rest in the league last weekend, so they've managed to rest some players for that game against Bayern as well, so that's interesting. Anderlecht against Beerschot, as I call them, 2.44 XG, 49% clean sheet percentage, so all quite good green fixtures. Spartak Moscow, one of note for contender people. I mean, Barco has just been insane, right? I actually toyed with buying a Super Rare at one point. I really wish I did. The only good news if you're a non-Barco holder is that Russia go on a long winter break soon, so it'll be down to just actually picking Celtic players and stuff. Or maybe your odd Berardi or whatever, or, Xherdan Shaqiri has been excellent as well, who's now moved to Contender League. Galatasaray against Sivasspor, don't really cover much Galatasaray-wise. Paris Saint-Germain, I might have a super rare of the Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper, or I might not. And nobody really knows. Nobody knows who's going to play, which isn't brilliant. But let's hope it's Safonov. Maybe I'll play him somewhere. I don't know. See if there's any news. Genk against Kortrijk. I've been struggling in that department. Sorry, going back to that, but just because you see Liverpool against Everton down there, and Alisson's been injured as well. So he's my main remaining super rare champ goalkeeper. Anything else sticking out? Aston Villa against Southampton. I mean, yeah, Southampton a lot of times are the plum draw, but Villa I think have lost 7 in a row at the time I'm doing this video. It's pretty poor. Lens against Montpellier. See, we've got all the French teams on there. I'm real pleased with that. As a French product, lots of French users. Will we get a specific French competition next season? Let's see. Obviously, I think there is a license for Coach League 1 or whatever, which is more of a French league license, but people running that are even worse than the people who run Sorare as far as I can see. So moving on, Benfica against Guimarães, 2.19 XG, 53% clean sheet percentage. Where's Sporting Lisbon? Do they have quite a tough fixture or something, or are you just not playing? Vissel Kobe. I didn't realise there was still some Japanese games left actually. Real Madrid against Girona. A lot of games on still, isn't there? Gonna filter. I want to see just from my own selfish point of view where Sporting Lisbon are, because Gyökeres hasn't actually moved to Manchester United yet, despite all rumours pointing in that direction. That was always going to be a rumour once. It's Anderlecht, LA Galaxy. What about Rico Puig? It's a shame. Played on with an actual ACL and got an assist, but that's just mad. Yeah, surely Sporting don't have a game, because they would be there somewhere, unless there's information missing, or unless I'm blind. Let's see. No, I don't think Sporting actually have got a game this weekend. I was just double checking there, but playing against Morenzi midweek, and then the next game against Man City. But anyway, on to the Celtic preview. See, we've got the famous Glasgow Celtic up there, 2.75 XG, 59% clean sheet percentage, and we need to do a bit of, mental gymnastics, as I would call it, in terms of who's going to play. I did put this preview up quite early as well, and I did that deliberately because I want people to be as informed as possible. So, and I want to be able to draft my teams, which is a good start. You can't just do them on Friday if you want. Firstly, you've got to have enough time for that. Secondly, you don't want to feel as if you're rushed. I kind of feel myself as if I made a couple of decisions last Friday that I made a decision and then never had a chance to think it through and decide whether I'd made the wrong decision. That's that kind of it's your decisions, but a lot of them are quite important decisions in terms of overall score and what you're doing strategy wise. So this lineup I had this ready and I'd done it at the same time as I posted the preview for Aberdeen. So it'll dovetail in with what I think is going to happen tonight when Celtic play against Aberdeen, but at the moment I don't know that. So this will be updated. So if you're watching this video, it's Thursday night, this might have changed a wee bit. Feel free to message me. Better still, why don't you sign up to Predictify? You'll get all the up-to-date information. It's not that expensive either, and it's a great site. There's some updates coming and everything as well, and those have been run by Predictify, not the Sorare UI genius guys who keep putting in features we don't need. Anyway, Kasper Schmeichel in goals, nothing controversial there. Hopefully, the time you see this video, number one goalkeeper, doesn't really get rotated, fit as a fiddle, hopefully doesn't pick up any real injuries against Aberdeen. Alex Valley at 70%, again I've kind of figured that Taylor might start against Aberdeen. I don't know. If Valley starts against Aberdeen, I think Taylor will start against Hibs. That's what I think would happen. Unless he really thinks that he wants to keep Taylor fresh for Dynamo Zagreb away. And this is a problem again, right? Celtic play Saturday against Hibs at 3 o'clock, but then a game midweek against Dynamo Zagreb as well, which games are coming thick and fast. Liam Scales, 70%. I think that Scales won't start against Aberdeen, and I think he'll come back in for this one. He started against Dundee, did very well, scored very well. He'll definitely play games, but I think for me, number one centre-back pairings, Trusty and Vickers. I think Carter Vickers will start tonight against Aberdeen. I think that means that naturally he'll need to be rested at some point, so I think you could well see Scales and Trusty this weekend, or that's what I would think will happen. Alistair Johnson, again, he could be rested ahead of Dynamo away in the Rangers Cup final the following Sunday. Big games coming for Celtic. It's going to be quite hard to call. Did start against Dundee though, so he's obviously not struggling for fitness, but came off in 60. So he's had his minutes managed, and again, if Celtic are doing well against Aberdeen, he might not play the whole game, but we'll just need to wait and see what happens, whether or not there's any minutes managed against Aberdeen as well. Cal McGregor, rarely kind of gets a rest these days. He did come off in the game against Dundee. He does get a rest over international breaks, so that's why he doesn't really need as much of a rest for Celtic. So he's had 3 2-week periods already in this season where he's had a rest. He won't be able to play every game during this run, and that's obviously part of the conundrum. With Engels, for example, getting a rest from the start of the weekend, you might turn up against Hibs and just have Engels, Bernardo and McCown. Honestly, it could happen. Bernardo was excellent against Dundee. I don't know if he'll keep his place against Aberdeen. I think Engels will come back in. Engels played the 6-0 against Aberdeen, and he does some work that isn't always appreciated in terms of Sorare scores, or sometimes even the Celtic support, but that's another point. Luke McCown, again, I don't think he'll start against Aberdeen. He might. Obviously he has started away games for Celtic, I remember him playing very well in the absolute annihilation of St Johnstone away from home. I think it was 6-0 or 6-1 or something that night. I think it was 6-0. So we'll see. But, he's definitely a guy who's got a lot of talent. And interestingly, against Dundee, he was taking some sets as well. So, if Engels isn't playing, then McCowan is a guy who can score well, rack up some assists, etc. Furuhashi, again, I put in there, I just think that with it being a home game, he'll probably start. Ida did start the game against Dundee, so again, I'll need to consider that based on who starts against Aberdeen away and who I think is going to be needed for Dynamo, etc. I think that Furuhashi will probably play against Dynamo and play against Rangers in the Cup final. He's got a great record against Rangers. Cup final is not an SO5 game, by the way, but there we go. So, but he could still start this game and have minutes managed, or Ida could maybe start away at Dynamo, depending on how the manager sees it. James Forrest for Maeda. I mean, Maeda will have to get a rest at some point. There's no two ways about it. Started against Dundee, but came off very, very early. So if he starts against Aberdeen, I think Forrest will probably start against Hibs. And then Nicholas Kuhn had a full rest against Dundee. So I think, he'll probably start a run of games now and just have his minutes managed. He also gets a rest over international break as well. So anyways, on to Sorare. As I said, I'm making some quibs about the UI and all that sort of stuff, but honestly, I don't really enjoy using the lineup builder. That's my honest answer. So yeah, I'll show you if it pops up again. I'll show you why. I'm not just being like deliberately disrespectful or anything to Sorare at this point. I just genuinely sometimes just don't enjoy putting the lineups in. So we've got this really good competition, the anti-stack we were talking about earlier. I like it. I do like it. I know people, I'd like it more if I could just put a Celtic stack at home. I get that, but, the idea of making it a bit more difficult, having to pick 5 from different clubs, quite interesting. You'll see they've extended the tail to 2,000 by putting in $5 auction credit. I really don't mind that at all, honestly. Rather, there was more getting paid out. People can use that towards their buys again in rare. You've got $10 to extend the tail to 700. $1,500 first, and then super rare. Again, this is an all-comers competition. You don't need any in-season cards. $2,500 first, really good. $50. The tail's extended, but the tail's kind of, a wee bit reduced. Again, that's what it is. We've got cap 260. Quite like the cap competitions. I think it opens up some strategy, finding that guy that's 20 average, it might get a decisive. It's not all about just picking somebody who's got a high average and getting a high score. So there's obviously stars available in limited. There's usually stars available in rare. We've got 3-star rares, so the podium we're all getting stars. No cash, obviously, in this one. And then in super rare, there's a star super rare. So, yeah, Haaland was given out in the flying goalie. So, I'm a bit bummed about that, but yeah, we've already talked about that. Then we've got all the usual suspects, all the usual competitions, under 23, etc., etc. So, in terms of what we're going to do for the weekend, as I said, probably not going to do much by way of actual lineup building here, but let's have a look at players. And we'll have a look at All-Star because, these are filtered obviously to my own players, but although they're filtered to my own, it will hopefully give you some ideas about guys who are pretty good for that competition. And also what we'll do is once I've had a look through my own, we'll look at the player database and see if anybody's standing out over and above that. Bear in mind, obviously, the best fixtures still at Bayern Munich and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, you get some other good fixtures as well, some other high projected scores. So where are we in terms of goalkeepers for myself? Highest clean sheet probability, Radecki, I write 53%. My absolute balls is he 53% to keep a clean sheet. That guy's, I can't remember the last time that guy kept a clean sheet for Finland as well. I'm not saying he's not a good goalkeeper or whatever, but Leverkusen have not been tight this season, so there we go. He's guaranteed to keep a clean sheet now. Probably be Kovar it will start though, that's what happens, isn't it? The Tribinator, 53% clean sheet percentage, pretty interesting. Who else have we got on here? Where is Kasper Schmeichel? Yeah. So that's where I've just been a bit of a I've still got my last 50 average scores in here, so that was just rubbish. 59% clean sheet percentage for Kasper Schmeichel, that's why I wasn't there. Project score 67. Maitov's injured, he's out for 5 or 6 weeks, so don't use Maitov unless you want DMP. Well, you can use him, but Krombrugge is an interesting one. 73 project score, 46% clean sheet percentage. Flying under the radar at the moment, playing really well, to be honest. So Rodrigo Ray's not always expensive. Alisson, good if he actually played. Kelleher obviously still fancy to start at the moment, but Alisson will come back at some point. David Raya, 42% clean sheet percentage there as well. So goalies are filtered clean sheet percentages. Defender wise, it's a shame that Jan Nicholas is simply the best he can get a game for Benfica. I thought he'd be brilliant at Benfica. I really did. I thought that if he never played at left back, he would play attacking and he would be sensational, but he's just obviously Carreras has been a revolution at left back, and you get Aktoroglu or whatever you call him, just totally annihilated his name, playing really well on the left wing, and Di Maria still doing pretty well. So yeah, he probably needs an injury or something to get in now, but if somebody does get injured, projecting 97 really good. Liam Scales, definitely one I think you could use. I mean, Scales probably a real good contender for that anti-stack. You got Scales kicking about. If he doesn't start against Aberdeen, then definitely take a risk on him for the weekend. I think that would be recommended. Otamendi, 83. Igor is the chap that plays for Brighton, so that's kind of interesting. 80. Sexy Sergei Petrov, but you need to get yourself a sexy Sergei. One of the absolute OGs in the McBride's channel. Still got his 1 out of 100 as well. Sexy Sergei Petrov, projected 80 for Krasnodar at home. Go and buy him, you'll not be disappointed. The guy is an absolute fanny magnet. Anyway, Guardiola, interesting, obviously quite expensive. Carter Vickers, etc. down there. Nobody else really sort of jumping out there. Said earlier, Luke McCowan, definitely wouldn't put you off picking Luke McCowan at home. I mean, if he starts home games for Celtic, he's going to be really dangerous, obviously, SO5 wise. Ezequiel Barco has just been insane this season. I mean, the guy's just scores he's doing just incredible. Shaqiri as well. Is a good part of Sorare as well. I mean, sometimes people maybe won't like that. Oh, these guys are coming in and what man season guys, and all of a sudden, I mean, I hated that weekend where Barco got the up score and 3 people captained them and it cost me 3 places and contender in season Super Rare. But there's a winter break coming, so I don't need to worry about him soon, so who cares? Shaqiri, yeah, I mean, more utility from him, which is good. He's playing at Basel. Anyone else standing out here? Page won't be playing, unless decide just to get people an R assist with his ACL, but I dare say he'll be advised against that. Di Maria is flying under the radar, playing very well. Arne Engels might be a rotation risk. Matoma, see how he does midweek. Think he had a wee knock, a wee niggle. Danny Welbeck estimated 100. I don't know when he ever does 100 because he doesn't really give AA, but that's interesting. Looks like a good attacking fixture for Brighton at the weekend. Sherky, yeah, there we go. There's one you can definitely pick up. Maybe even pick it up if you see this video today. Pick it up for the champ offer as well, and get yourself a 20% chance on an R card. Well, Simhen, probably a 90 to 100% chance of BCM at the moment. So many big chances missed. Yamal's back. Kyle Saka, João Pedro, lots of familiar names there. Tolaka Aroko Dari. Strong player. He could be a shout actually. He's not really an AA guy, but if you're looking for somebody a bit cheaper, for an anti-stack, etc., could definitely be shout. Some of our usual suspects like Wirtz, Griezmann, Di Maria, etc. there as well. Let's have a look at player database. So again, player database is not just basically my players, it's everybody. So the positions that are rated quite sort of high. So Marvin Schwab's an interesting one. 44% clean sheet percentage for Cologne, but expected to get AA. So definitely one you can take a chance on. I think Jose Saz kept his place as well for Wolves. Probably due a result, to be honest. Got Rio German there. I don't think he'll be that expensive. Watanabe. It's a guy I think like quite an interesting one. It's only 30% to actually start though. Carranza, Bosnian look as if they're injured. Um, Anyone else stand out here? Giuliano Simeone's starting a bit now, but I don't know if he's kind of AA type guy. But obviously, Atletico Madrid have got a good fixture. Casan Huerto is injured, I think, for Rangers, so that brings Tavernier back into it again. Although Sterling's been playing, but Tavernier will not be left out like indefinitely. I think Rangers would sell him if they can. That's another point. It's not during a transfer window just now. Anyone else jumping out here? Fabian Rees, I mean, when he comes back, he'll be pretty good. Went quite cheap as well, but a real strong scorer. Only 20% estimation on the spreadsheet at the moment to start. Jaden Philogene isn't really a kind of AA type guy. Try to pick out the best ones here, right? So, let's see if there's anybody jumps out that's actually starters. Paul Jolly's a really good scorer. He's definitely one you could take a risk on. I don't know his status in terms of starting, but Paul Jolly's really a real strong scorer. There's some names on here I don't really kind of know that well, so I'm not really going to discuss them that much, given I don't know them that well. That's my own naivety, but I don't like to be discussing or recommending people I don't really know. So, lineup building wise, I know people will like to see some lineup building, see the players, etc. What would I do for Celtic? So, assuming it goes the way I think it's going to go midweek, then I guess it would go something along this way. So yes, that's what I mean about the lineup builder and stuff, right? Like it's just automatically set to throw in people who don't have a game. Like why would you have a lineup builder where you've got displaying people who don't have a game? Like it's a lineup builder. Anyway, Kasper Schmeichel's going to have to go in for me, obviously, for contender. I think Carter Vickers, I don't think he will start. Again, I'm not complaining all the time. Anyway, let's get my feedback out in the one video. Like, why should we even be able to use a super rare in a limited competition? Like, I got the theory with the kind of rare side of things. I mean, yeah, you could get a spare rare or whatever, but just opening up more entries. Like, it's become highly competitive and everything now. So, first thing I do here is I just filter it to limited. So it just becomes an R click, if that makes sense. In-season guys for Celtic. So I think Alistair Johnson might be a bit of a risk. Trustees had a rest recently, so I don't think that he'll be rested. You could definitely just justify just going for Scales. So if Scales doesn't start against Aberdeen, I think he'll come back in again. Just because Celtic play against Hibs, then they play against Dynamo, then they've got the big cup final against Rangers. And I think the Dynamo game and I think the Rangers game probably be Trusty games, in all honesty. It's harsh on Liam Scales in a way, but Trusty's been really good. And there's 3 centre backs there, and only 2 of them can play. I think I would bet my bottom dollar on Bernardo again, especially if he doesn't play against Aberdeen. Up front, it's just so hard to leave out Nicholas Kuhn, honestly. His scores have been amazing. The weekend he never played. But Celtic were 5-0 up. He was on the bench just in case. And it was like, well, we don't really need him now. He doesn't appear high up here, but, you could definitely justify going for Luke McCowan. And I think that the other thing to point out there is that some of these guys are really quite good affordable options for the anti-stack as well. Pick up like a classic Liam Scales or whatever. Not that expensive because he's not starting now. Again, Luke McCowan's buttons because he's not starting. Bernardo's not that expensive, so definitely some food for thought. I mean, in a really good fixture, right? You're not going to get a Bayern Munich player or whatever. So I'll just buy Michael Elise or whatever, and it'll be cheap. It probably won't be. Might be some guys at Bayern Munich. I know Leroy Sané's went quite cheap recently, and there might be some rotation guys who'll come in who might do pretty well. Jamie McGrath appearing here as well, quite a good fixture against St Johnstone. Again, he'll be fresh off an absolute scudding from Celtic. So yeah, I'm confident against Aberdeen. I must admit, like, not going to say that lineup because that wasn't the point of doing the video. In terms of like getting too many lineups set early, but there we go. Anyways, we'll do a quick recap. I moved myself down there because I couldn't see my face for the neon sign. I hope people are enjoying everything that's going on at the moment. I know I've been maybe ranting a wee bit or been quite vocal in terms of certain things. Like, can't help it. Just been frustrated with a lot of things, and like I want the best for what's happening on Sorare, right? I've done well, so I could just sit here and just say, right, well, I'm winning loads of cash and stuff, and I don't care. But I think that the classic side of things and where things are going is important for everybody in Sorare. I don't want to be looking at my Trent Alexander-Arnold rare in a year's time and he's worth 20 quid. He's already selling for like 90 quid. It's like just bonkers. Like, so how low is things going to go? That's the question. And obviously, a lot of these cards which have been minted just now, these neon cards or whatever, that's all well and good. But again, they'll become sort of classic type cards at the end of the season. I'll be interested to see people's reactions. Obviously, we've got this neon limited special which is running in January. Celtic aren't playing that weekend, probably deliberate. It's just looked at it and think, Celtic win enough. But interesting and also a wee bit concerning that it needs 5 neon cards. So we basically were in December and Sorare are now bringing out competitions where you can't enter any of your cards you've bought so far. I do find that kind of both interesting and a bit concerning at the same time. It's like, I get it. I do understand why they would do that because, people have got their collections established and there is this dynamic where we're just now, yeah, Sporting Lisbon have got a good fixture this weekend. They don't because they're not playing. But say they did, and you say, right, yeah, what a couple of Sporting Lisbon players or whatever, but, go and buy one just now, 5% bonus, and then you go and look at the Sporting collections list, and there's people who've got 16, 17% Gyökeres and stuff. You're like, what's the point of buying a Gyökeres? Like, honestly, like, unless you're just running some mad team that's just full of differentials or whatever, then you don't feel as if you're going to be able to compete for the top prizes. So what's that got to do with the neon thing? Well, I guess from Sorare's point of view, if they're running big competition and you need 5 neon cards, then you need 5 neon cards, and it just means it's specific just to them. But again, there's weird dynamics to that as well. Say Celtic were playing, I want a couple of Celtic players for that. I could buy a couple of neon cards, but I wouldn't get any collection bonus on them. And yeah, it's just a pretty interesting concept. But I just don't know where it's going, like, and what I want to know in terms of where it's going as well. I know we'll get information probably in the next couple of weeks. Most likely January with any sort of proposals or plans for February and maybe beyond that as well. But what's going to happen at the end of the champ season? Like, even if, for example, there's an April competition and the cards look like Easter eggs, and it's a competition in May and it's the last round of the season, and you buy these Easter egg cards and you need 5 Easter egg cards, and they're giving them away as the prizes and everything. And if people win them in Classic, then they're only useful kind of for one weekend and become bad Classic cards. And that's the stuff that's on my mind overall, if that makes sense. We've seen Classic going down quite a lot, and I guess part of that is also because of the essence having to be pulled back a bit too. So there we go. We'll not over-egg that. The main point of the video was to do the fixture preview. We've run through Celtic, run through the best fixtures, covered the pitch notes, we've run through good options for the anti-stack, we're given a Celtic lineup prediction. I think that's probably enough before I start moaning about that Safanov. I'm not going to call it. No, I can't. I'm swearing enough on the channel. Anyways, let's end on that note. Remember, if you're looking at Celtic stuff, that actually it's been recorded before Celtic Aberdeen game, and there will be updates, but only on Predictor.fi, because that's where the predictions go up. And if you're playing at the weekend or you've got some games left midweek, we'll end in customary fashion. Good luck. Go for it.